The twin suns of the planet Virelia were beginning to set, casting a warm golden glow over the sprawling gardens of the royal palace. The air shimmered with the faint hum of the exotic flora, and every step Elias Harper took seemed to echo softly among the marble pathways. As a human explorer, he had traveled to countless worlds, but nothing had prepared him for the beauty and serenity of Liara's home. Elias paused, taking a deep breath. He adjusted the straps of his exploration pack and glanced around. The garden stretched endlessly, filled with plants that seemed to sway as if in conversation with each other. Colors he had never seen before blended seamlessly, forming patterns that made the world feel alive. Among the flowers and softly trickling water fountains, small creatures flitted, almost like living sparks of light. He had been sent to Virelia as part of a diplomatic mission. Humanity wanted to establish a peaceful relationship with the alien civilizations of this sector, and he had volunteered for the journey. Elias had always been curious not just about planets and technology, but about the beings who lived there. He believed that laughter, kindness, and understanding were universal no matter what form a life took. As he walked, he noticed movement ahead. A figure was approaching him, gliding gracefully along the path. Her skin shimmered faintly under the fading sunlight, a soft mix of silver and lavender tones. Her eyes, larger than any human's, held a depth that was both intelligent and kind. She wore a flowing gown of a material that seemed to ripple like liquid under her movements. This was Princess Liara, the heir to Virelia's throne. She had a reputation for wisdom beyond her years, yet also a curiosity that matched Elias's own. Today she had chosen to walk the gardens alone, seeking a moment of peace before evening ceremonies. Elias cleared his throat politely. "Hello," he said softly, trying to sound calm, though his heart was racing. "I am Elias Harper, human explorer." Liara stopped a few steps away, her expression carefully neutral at first. Then, noticing his relaxed posture and gentle tone, a small smile tugged at the corners of her lips. "I am Princess Liara," she replied. Her voice was melodic with a warmth that made even the garden feel more welcoming. "You are far from home, Elias Harper. What brings you to Virelia?" "I've traveled a long way to learn," he said, feeling the words come naturally. "Not just about the planet, but about its people. I wanted to understand your world, your culture, and perhaps make a friend along the way." Liara's eyes sparkled with interest. Few humans had ever spoken with such sincerity. "A friend?" she asked, her voice softening. "That is unusual. Most visitors come with expectations, not friendships." Elias chuckled lightly. "I've learned that friendships are stronger than expectations. They last longer too." For a moment the two stood quietly, letting the hum of the garden fill the space between them. Then Liara tilted her head, her curiosity clearly piqued. "You speak as though you know much of our ways, yet you have just arrived. Tell me, what do you notice about Virelia that surprises you most?" Elias looked around, thinking. "The harmony," he said finally. "Every living thing seems connected yet free. Even the water, the plants, the creatures. They all feel alive in a way I have never experienced." Liara's smile grew. "That is exactly how we feel. Virelia is alive and we are a part of it. You understand more than most visitors." Encouraged, Elias took a careful step closer. "And you? Do you ever wish for something beyond these gardens?" he asked, curious about her thoughts. Liara's gaze softened and she let out a quiet laugh, a sound like wind chimes stirred by a gentle breeze. "Sometimes," she admitted. "Sometimes I wonder what it would be like to meet someone who sees the world differently, someone who brings laughter where we expect only formality." Elias felt a warm thrill in his chest. He had hoped for such a moment, but hearing her say it aloud made it real. "Then perhaps we are meant to meet," he said, smiling. "If only to bring a little laughter to your formal world." Liara tilted her head, considering his words. Then she stepped closer, just enough that he could see the subtle blush spreading across her cheeks. "Perhaps," she said softly. "Perhaps indeed." For the next hour they walked together through the gardens. Elias pointed out patterns in the plants that reminded him of Earth, and Liara laughed at his creative comparisons. She showed him a fountain shaped like a spiraling galaxy, explaining its symbolism in Virelian culture. Elias shared stories of his own travels, of deserts and oceans and cities that glowed at night. At one point, Elias tripped slightly over a root, and Liara reached out to steady him. Their hands brushed, and both felt a strange warmth, a spark of connection neither could deny. Liara laughed, a soft melodic sound, and Elias found himself laughing too, unable to resist. "You humans are clumsy," she teased gently, shaking her head. "And you aliens are surprisingly graceful," he replied, bowing slightly in mock respect. She giggled, clearly amused. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the garden, Liara turned to him with a playful smile. "You have made an impression today, Elias Harper," she said. "I have not laughed like this in many cycles." Elias bowed again, this time sincerely. "I am honored, Princess. Your laughter is a gift." A moment of silence passed, filled only by the gentle murmur of the fountains. Then Liara's expression softened and she spoke quietly, almost shyly. "Hey, Elias," he looked up, surprised. "Yes, sweetie," she said, a faint blush coloring her cheeks further. "Thank you for walking with me." Elias felt his heart skip a beat. "It's my pleasure," he said softly. Then seeing her smile, he added, "Liara, you truly are remarkable." And in that quiet evening garden, beneath two suns fading into night, they both laughed together, a sound that seemed to blend perfectly with the living world around them. For the first time, Elias felt that this journey was not just about exploration or diplomacy. It was about connection, understanding, and perhaps the beginning of something extraordinary. As darkness settled and the first stars appeared in the alien sky, Elias and Liara walked side by side, talking and laughing, discovering that despite the vast differences between their worlds, some things, like friendship and shared joy, were truly universal. And though they did not know what challenges awaited them in the days ahead, they both felt a quiet certainty. This encounter was the start of a bond that neither time nor distance could easily break. The morning sun rose over Viralia, bathing the palace gardens in soft amber light. Elias Harper woke early, eager to learn more about this extraordinary world. The previous evening's meeting with Princess Liara had left him excited and curious. Her laughter still echoed in his mind, a sound unlike anything he had heard on any planet before. Today he was invited to explore more of the palace. Beyond the ceremonial gardens, Liara herself offered to guide him, a rare privilege for a human visitor. As he followed her along the winding marble corridors, Elias noticed details he had missed the day before. Walls carved with flowing patterns that seemed to move when viewed from different angles, and ceilings adorned with holographic images of Viralia's history. "This palace is incredible," Elias said, trying to keep his awe in check. "It feels alive, like it's more than just stone and metal." Liara smiled, glancing at him. "That is the intention," she explained. "Everything here is designed to celebrate life, knowledge, and creativity. Our people believe that even buildings should be part of the world's harmony." Elias nodded thoughtfully. "On Earth, we often forget that we are part of our surroundings. We build walls and towers, but rarely think of them as living." Liara's eyes sparkled. "Perhaps that is why you find Viralia so different. You notice what most overlook? That is a gift." They entered a large hall filled with objects Elias could barely comprehend. Some floated gently above platforms, shimmering faintly. Others emitted soft sounds when touched, like music from a long-forgotten instrument. Liara walked among them, her fingers brushing a crystal-like sculpture that seemed to respond to her touch, glowing slightly. "These are artifacts from our culture," she said, her voice gentle. "Each one tells a story. Some are thousands of cycles old, yet they still speak to us. We believe every object has a soul, a memory of the hands that shaped it." Elias crouched to examine a small, intricate sculpture, resembling a swirling wave. "It feels peaceful, almost as if it's alive," Liara nodded. "You are beginning to understand us. You humans often see objects as tools. We see them as companions, extensions of our experiences." As they moved to another section, Elias noticed a group of young Virelians practicing a form of art that combined dance, sound, and glowing light. The performers moved in perfect unison, their gestures weaving stories of ancient battles, heroic explorers, and legendary leaders. "Would you like to try?" Liara asked, a playful glint in her eyes. Elias hesitated. I'm not sure I can." "Humor is universal," she said with a grin. "Even if you stumble, it will be appreciated." Encouraged, Elias stepped into the circle. Liara guided him through simple movements, laughing softly whenever his timing faltered. The glowing lights followed his gestures, creating a trail of colors that danced around him. Though clumsy at first, Elias found himself smiling, genuinely enjoying the experience. Liara laughed beside him, her voice like wind over water. "You are improving," she said. "And your laughter. It adds a new melody to the performance." After a few more attempts, Elias and Liara sat on a raised platform overlooking the performers. "I never imagined art could feel so alive," he admitted. "On Earth we create, but it rarely interacts with us this way." Liara leaned closer. "That is because your creations are meant to be observed, not shared in harmony. Here, we celebrate interaction, connection, and emotion." Their conversation was interrupted by the soft hum of a hovering device approaching them. It was a Virelian communicator, sleek and transparent with patterns that pulsed gently as it spoke. The device projected a holographic image of Liara's advisor, a tall figure with gentle eyes and a calm presence. "Princess," the advisor said, voice resonating clearly, "we have received reports from the outer perimeter. A small delegation of visiting merchants has arrived, seeking to trade rare resources. Shall we invite them to the palace?" Liara nodded. "Yes, but I would like Elias to join me. He can observe our customs firsthand." The advisor raised an eyebrow but said nothing further. The device retracted, leaving Elias and Liara alone once more. As they walked toward the palace gates, Elias asked, "Do humans often join such ceremonies?" Liara laughed softly. "Rarely. But I believe you are curious in the right way, and you respect our traditions. That is more important than protocol." Outside, the courtyard was filled with merchants from distant star systems. They wore colorful garments and carried objects Elias had never seen before. Liara approached them with grace, and Elias followed, careful to mimic her movements. The merchants greeted Liara respectfully, bowing slightly. Elias watched as she engaged them in conversation, her words flowing smoothly, her expressions warm. Though he did not understand all the language, the tone conveyed friendliness and openness. One merchant handed her a small carved object. Liara accepted it with a smile, inspecting it carefully. Then she turned to Elias, her eyes twinkling. "Elias, would you like to try?" He took the object cautiously. It was heavier than it looked, and its carvings were delicate, almost fragile. He held it up, trying to mimic the gestures Liara had used. The merchant laughed lightly, not mockingly, but with a sound that conveyed approval. "You see," Liara said softly, "even without understanding every word, you can communicate through respect and curiosity." Elias smiled, feeling a sense of pride. "I think I am beginning to understand this world. Thanks to you." They continued walking through the courtyard, observing the traders and their wares. Elias noticed patterns in the objects, ways in which the merchants' cultures expressed values, beliefs, and history. Liara explained the significance of each item, highlighting similarities to human traditions. "It is fascinating," Elias said. "Even though our worlds are so different, we all find ways to tell stories, to celebrate what matters most to us." Liara nodded. "Exactly. That is why your presence here is meaningful. You are bridging worlds, even in small ways." As the day progressed, Liara invited Elias to a private part of the palace, a serene terrace overlooking a small lake. The water reflected the sky like a mirror, and gentle breezes rippled its surface. Liara handed Elias a small translucent cup filled with a fragrant liquid. "This is our morning tea," she explained. "It is made from plants that grow only in Virelia. It is said to help clear the mind and open the heart." Elias took a careful sip. The taste was unfamiliar, sweet and slightly earthy, yet comforting. He felt a calm wash over him, a clarity that allowed him to observe everything more deeply. Liara watched him, smiling. "Do you understand now why we value connection so much? Every sip, every gesture, every sound is part of our way of life. It reminds us to be present, to listen, and to appreciate." Elias nodded. "I do, and I am grateful to learn it from you." Liara's expression softened, and for a moment they sat in companionable silence, watching the rippling water. Then she spoke quietly, almost shyly. "Elias, would you stay for the evening celebration? It is a small festival, with music and dancing. I think you would enjoy it." He smiled, touched by her invitation. "I would be honored, Princess. And perhaps I can add a little human humor to the festivities." Liara laughed, a soft sound that made the terrace feel warmer. I look forward to it, she said. Your presence brings a different kind of light to our traditions. As the day turned to evening, Elias felt a growing connection not just to Liara, but to the world around him. He realized that exploring a planet was not just about studying its landscapes or technology. It was about understanding its people, their values, and the ways they saw life. And with Princess Liara by his side, he felt that he was beginning to understand more than just Virelia. He was beginning to understand a friendship that could bridge stars, a bond built on laughter, respect, and the simple joy of sharing moments together. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the palace grounds. The first lights of the evening celebration flickered on, and Elias and Liara walked toward them, ready to immerse themselves in music, dance, and the warmth of a culture that welcomed him not as an outsider, but as a friend. In that moment, Elias knew that his journey to Virelia was only just beginning, and that the connection he had found with Princess Liara might be one of the most extraordinary experiences of his life. The night sky over Virelia glittered with countless stars, each one a reminder of the vastness of the universe. Elias Harper stood on the palace terrace looking out at the horizon. Beside him, Princess Liara moved with the calm elegance of someone who had grown up under these skies. Yet her eyes carried a shadow of concern. Elias, she said softly, not all travelers in the stars come with peaceful intentions. You must understand that our world, as beautiful as it is, can also be vulnerable. Elias nodded, absorbing her words. I understand. But Virelia has its people, and now it seems even a human friend who will stand with you. Liara glanced at him, surprised by the quiet determination in his voice. You would help us even if danger comes? I would, Elias said without hesitation. Friendship is more than laughter. It means standing together when it counts. Her expression softened and she smiled faintly. I am grateful, Elias. That is why I wish to show you something few outsiders ever see. They moved through a private corridor, walls glowing softly with Virelian patterns, until they reached the observation chamber, a high platform overlooking the outer sectors of the planet. Holographic displays floated in mid-air, showing star systems, trade routes, and planetary defenses. Liara pointed to a distant sector. We have detected a fleet approaching, she explained. They come from the Zetherian Confederacy, a faction that seeks to expand its territory. They have been aggressive in neighboring systems. Our sensors indicate their ships are heavily armed. Elias leaned closer to the hologram. The fleet appeared as dark shapes moving in perfect formation through space. How soon will they arrive? He asked. Within 3 Virelian cycles, Liara replied. They may demand resources or attempt to take control. Our defenses are prepared, but I worry that sheer numbers may overwhelm us. Elias's mind raced. He had faced dangerous situations before, but this was different. This was not just about survival. It was about protecting a culture, a world, and a friend who had shown him trust. Do you have a plan? He asked. Liara nodded. Our strategy relies on outsmarting them. Virelia's technology is advanced, but sometimes cunning and creativity matter more than power. I want you to be part of the plan. Elias's heart pounded. I will do my best. I have ideas that might help, using human tactics and problem-solving. But you must trust me. Liara studied him carefully. After a long moment, she smiled. I do. Let us begin. For the next several hours, they worked together in the observation chamber. Liara explained Virelia's defensive systems, energy shields that could protect the cities, automated drones that patrolled the skies, and sensor arrays capable of detecting approaching ships long before they arrived. Elias offered suggestions based on human strategies, proposing ways to mislead the enemy fleet and disrupt their formations. You think like a tactician, Liara said, impressed. Most humans focus on brute force. You focus on strategy. Elias shrugged modestly. Humans have faced challenges through thinking as much as fighting. It's about observing patterns, predicting behavior, and using intelligence to create an advantage. Liara's eyes gleamed. Then we may have a chance. Your ideas could save many lives. The next morning, the palace was abuzz with activity. Virelians prepared defensive drones, fortified key structures, and coordinated communications across the planet. Elias moved among them, helping where he could, learning quickly how Virelia's systems worked. Despite the tension, Liara found moments to walk with him in the gardens. You must rest, she insisted gently. Even in danger, we cannot lose our humanity, or our humor. Elias smiled. You are right, Princess. Laughter is a shield of its own in some ways. Liara laughed softly. Yes, and it reminds us why we fight, to protect what makes life worth living. As the third cycle of the approaching Zetherian fleet drew near, scouts reported the first signs of the invaders' ships appearing on the edge of Varelian space. Dark silhouettes against the bright stars, they moved silently yet ominously. Liara and Elias stood together in the observation chamber, studying the enemy. They are fast, Elias observed, and they operate in tight formations. But they rely on predictable patterns. That is where we can gain the advantage. Explain, Liara prompted. We can use decoys to mislead them, Elias said. Small drones, minimal energy signatures. If we create the illusion that our cities are vulnerable, they may advance in a way we can anticipate. Then we strike strategically, disabling key ships without direct confrontation. Liara's eyes widened with approval. A brilliant plan. It relies on intelligence rather than raw force. That is very human of you. Elias smiled. I will follow your lead, Princess. Together we can protect Varelia. As the first enemy ships entered the outer atmosphere, Varelia's defenses were ready. Drones launched into the skies, weaving patterns of light and motion designed to confuse the invaders. Energy shields activated, their subtle hum creating a barrier that shimmered like liquid under the starlight. The Zetherian ships advanced cautiously, expecting resistance, yet Elias's plan worked. The decoy formations drew them toward empty sectors, while Varelian defenses targeted their supply vessels. Explosions in space lit up the dark void, and sensors tracked the enemy's every move. Liara coordinated the defense from the observation chamber, her voice calm but commanding. Elias, redirect the drones to Sector 12. The enemy fleet is adjusting its path. Elias acted quickly, issuing commands to the drones. Done, they are responding as expected. Sector 12 is ready. The battle continued for several cycles, but Elias and Liara's strategy began to show results. The Zetherian fleet, frustrated by unexpected losses and confusing signals, started to retreat. Varelia's people, watching from safe observation points, cheered quietly, knowing that the planet had been defended without unnecessary loss of life. When the last Zetherian ship vanished into the darkness of space, Liara turned to Elias, her face a mixture of relief and admiration. You helped save Varelia, she said softly. Not just with skill, but with your mind and your courage. Elias shook his head. We saved it together. I could not have done it without your leadership. And without trust, Liara's eyes softened. For the first time, she allowed a hint of vulnerability to show. Trust, yes. That is the most powerful weapon of all. They left the observation chamber and walked through the gardens, now calm under the gentle glow of the moons. The air carried a sense of peace, but also a quiet pride in what had been accomplished. You were incredible, Liara said, glancing at him. Even in danger, you remained calm, focused, and human. Your perspective made a difference. Elias smiled, feeling warmth spread through him. And you were remarkable, Princess. Brave, wise, and inspiring. I feel honored to stand beside you. Liara's cheeks flushed slightly and she laughed softly, a sound that eased the tension of the recent battle. You humans speak so freely, it is refreshing. And you aliens smile so easily, Elias replied, meeting her gaze. It is contagious. For a long moment they walked in silence, letting the gentle hum of the garden surround them. The battle had tested them, but it had also strengthened their connection. They realized that friendship, trust, and courage were universal, transcending the differences between species and worlds. As night fell fully, painting the sky with shimmering stars, Elias and Liara sat on a marble bench overlooking the palace grounds. The faint lights of the city reflected softly in the water below, creating a serene scene of calm after chaos. You know, Liara said quietly, I did not expect to find laughter in the middle of danger. Yet here we are. Elias smiled, feeling the same truth. That is the human way, he said. We face challenges, but we also find moments to laugh, to connect, to remember why we fight. Liara looked at him, her eyes reflecting both gratitude and a hint of affection. Then perhaps, we are meant to be allies not just in battle but in friendship as well. Elias nodded. Yes, Princess. Together we can face whatever comes next. And we will do it with courage, intelligence, and maybe a little laughter too. She laughed softly again, and for the first time, Elias felt that their bond had grown stronger than any single battle, stronger than fear or uncertainty. It was a connection built on respect, trust, and shared experiences. A reminder that even in a universe filled with danger, hope and friendship could prevail. As they sat under the starlit sky, Elias realized that this journey was no longer just about exploration. It was about standing with someone he admired, protecting a world he had come to cherish, and discovering that the most extraordinary adventures were those shared with others. And though the galaxy remained vast and unpredictable, Elias Harper knew one thing for certain. With Princess Liara by his side, they could face anything together. The skies above Virelia darkened with the looming presence of the Zetherian fleet. Hundreds of sleek black ships hovered silently, their formations precise and menacing. Yet below, the planet's surface remained calm, as if the world itself trusted in the courage of its defenders. Elias Harper stood beside Princess Liara on a high balcony overlooking the city. The two had spent countless cycles preparing for this moment, combining human ingenuity with Virelian technology. The strategies they had devised in the observation chamber were now ready to be tested. Liara's voice was calm but firm. "Elias, this is it. Remember, the goal is to protect, not to destroy. Outsmart them, not fight blindly. Our people rely on us to think first." Elias nodded, taking a deep breath. "I understand. We've prepared for this, and together, we can do it." Below them, drones launched into the skies like swarms of luminescent insects. Their paths formed intricate patterns designed to confuse the approaching enemy. Energy shields flickered to life, creating invisible barriers across strategic points of the city. The first Zetherian ships advanced cautiously, scanning for weaknesses. Elias and Liara watched the holographic projections, tracking each movement. "They are approaching Sector 8, Elias said, pointing. "Redirect the drones to create a false opening on the southern perimeter." Liara nodded. "Do it." The drones shifted, forming a glowing trail that led the Zetherian fleet away from the city's main defenses. Elias felt a thrill of satisfaction as the enemy took the bait, steering their ships toward an empty sector where Virelia's forces could control the battlefield. "Excellent," Liara said softly. "Your plan works better than I imagined." But the Zetherians were not easily fooled. They adjusted their formations, attempting to flank the drones and strike where the defenses seemed weakest. Elias's mind raced, analyzing patterns, predicting movements. "We need to split their attention," he said. "Deploy the secondary drones in a zigzag pattern. Force them to divide their fleet." Liara quickly relayed the commands, and the secondary drones zipped into position. The Zetherian fleet reacted, and soon, confusion spread among their ships. A few stumbled into energy barriers, while others collided with the decoy formations. The battle had begun, not with sheer force, but with clever strategy and coordination. Elias felt a surge of pride. He had faced challenges before, but never one that combined danger, intellect, and teamwork so perfectly. Liara, too, moved among the command posts with grace, issuing orders with precision, her calm presence inspiring those around her. Hours passed, each cycle bringing new challenges. The Zetherians launched attack waves, testing the defenses, but Elias and Liara anticipated each move. They adapted quickly, using human tactics and Virelian technology together. At one point, a Zetherian ship broke through the decoys, heading straight for the city's central energy hub. "Elias," Liara shouted.
"We must stop it."
Elias acted instantly. "Deploy the intercept drones. Use the energy net." Drones shot into the path of the intruder, weaving a glowing net of energy that slowed the ship's momentum. With a precise strike, the energy net ensnared the Zetherian vessel, bringing it safely to the ground without causing destruction. The city remained intact. Liara's eyes met Elias's. "Your quick thinking saved countless lives." He smiled faintly, though his chest still pounded with adrenaline. "And your leadership guided them. We saved them together." The battle continued, but gradually the Zetherian fleet began to falter. Their formations broke apart, their attacks became desperate, and confusion spread among their ranks. Elias and Liara coordinated every move, anticipating the enemy's next step with a combination of human intuition and Virelian insight. During a brief lull, Liara turned to Elias. "You have changed my perspective on humans," she said quietly. "I always knew you were clever, but your courage, it is remarkable." Elias felt warmth spread through him. "And you, Liara, have shown me that courage and wisdom can be gentle as well as strong. I have never seen leadership like yours." Their eyes met, and for a brief moment the chaos of the battle faded. There was only trust, understanding, and a deep respect that transcended species and worlds. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the city. A new wave of Zetherian ships had appeared, faster and more coordinated than before. Elias felt a jolt of tension, but he did not panic. "We can handle this," he said firmly. "We know their patterns. We adapt," Liara nodded. "Then let us continue. We will show them that Virelia cannot be conquered through fear." Together they issued commands, adjusting drone paths, redirecting energy shields, and predicting the enemy's next move. The Zetherians launched an assault on the city's communication array, hoping to cut off coordination. Elias quickly devised a counter-strategy. "We will use holographic decoys to mimic the array," he explained. "They will waste time attacking illusions while we reinforce the real system." Liara's eyes lit up. "Brilliant. Do it." The plan worked perfectly. The enemy fired at decoys, leaving themselves vulnerable. Virelian forces struck with precision, neutralizing the attackers without harming the city. The Zetherian fleet, realizing they were outsmarted, began to retreat. As the last of the enemy ships disappeared into space, Elias and Liara stepped out onto the balcony. The sky was calm once more, stars reflecting softly on the planet below. The city had survived, its people safe thanks to teamwork, strategy, and trust. Liara turned to Elias, her eyes shining with admiration. "You have proven yourself not just as a friend, but as a protector of Virelia. Your courage and mind, they are extraordinary." Elias smiled, though exhaustion tugged at him. "I could not have done it without you, Princess. Your guidance, wisdom, and bravery made all the difference." For a long moment they simply stood together, gazing at the peaceful city. The hum of energy shields, now steady and soft, reminded them of the world they had defended. The battle had tested them, but it had also strengthened the bond between them. Liara spoke quietly, almost shyly. "Elias, thank you. Not just for the battle, but for showing me that friendship and trust can cross the boundaries of worlds. You have taught me something important today." Elias felt a warmth in his chest. "And you have shown me that courage and wisdom are universal, no matter the shape, size, or origin of a being. I am honored to stand with you." They walked slowly through the palace gardens, now calm under the soft glow of the moons. The flowers and fountains seemed to hum in quiet celebration, reflecting the harmony of a world preserved. "You humans are remarkable," Liara said softly, a faint blush on her cheeks. "Even in danger you find ways to laugh, to connect, and to remain kind." "And you aliens are remarkable as well," Elias replied. "Your calm, your grace, your wisdom, it inspires everyone around you." "Including me," Liara laughed softly, a sound that eased the tension of the day. "Then perhaps we can continue to learn from each other, not just in battle, but in life as well." Elias smiled. "I would like that very much." As night settled over Virelia, Elias and Liara stood beneath the alien sky, stars shimmering like distant jewels. The battle had tested their skills, their courage, and their resolve, but it had also revealed something even more important: the power of friendship, trust, and understanding. In the quiet moments after chaos, they laughed softly together, sharing a lightness that balanced the weight of responsibility. It was a moment of connection that neither of them would forget, a reminder that even in the vast, unpredictable universe, bonds could be formed that were strong enough to face any challenge. Elias knew that this was only the beginning. The galaxy was full of mysteries, adventures, and perhaps dangers yet unseen. But with Princess Liara by his side, he felt ready to face whatever came next. They had fought together, learned together, and trusted each other. That trust was now unbreakable. And as they looked at the peaceful city, bathed in the glow of Virelia's moons, Elias understood a truth that transcended worlds. Courage, intelligence, and friendship could change the course of any challenge, no matter how impossible it seemed. The first light of Virelia's twin suns rose over the palace gardens, bathing the world in a warm, golden glow. The city was alive with a quiet celebration. After the successful defense against the Zetherian fleet, the people moved through the streets with smiles and laughter. enjoying the return of peace. The air was filled with music, the soft hum of instruments blending with the songs of alien birds. Elias Harper walked beside Princess Liara, taking in the sights and sounds. The past few cycles had been intense, filled with strategy, courage, and danger. But now, the world seemed to breathe again, calm and vibrant. Elias felt a deep sense of satisfaction, but also curiosity about what the future held. Liara paused near a fountain, its waters reflecting the morning light. "Elias," she said softly, "today is a celebration of more than just survival. It is a celebration of unity, of understanding, and of friendship." Elias smiled. "And you have shown me that true friendship can cross worlds. I never imagined that I would find this on Virelia." Liara laughed softly, a sound that made the garden feel even more alive. "I am glad you did. Your presence has brought joy not just to me, but to many of our people. You remind us that courage, intelligence, and kindness are universal." As they walked through the festival, vendors displayed exotic foods, handcrafted objects, and luminous fabrics that shimmered in the sunlight. Children ran around laughing, some chasing small floating orbs that glowed faintly as they moved. The scene was vibrant yet peaceful, a perfect reflection of Virelia itself. Elias noticed groups of citizens approaching him with curiosity and respect. Many had heard of his role in defending the planet, yet they greeted him not as an outsider but as a friend. He bowed politely to each, feeling the warmth of their appreciation. Liara watched him, smiling with pride. "Your actions have spoken louder than words," she said. "The people see your heart, not just your skills. That is why they accept you so readily." They arrived at a large open plaza where musicians were performing. The music was unlike anything Elias had ever heard, soft, flowing, and filled with harmonies that seemed to tell stories without words. Liara gestured for him to join in the dance, a tradition of Virelia that celebrated life and togetherness. Elias hesitated for a moment, then laughed. "Very well, Princess. Let us join the celebration." As they moved among the dancers, Elias noticed how naturally he fit into the rhythm. Liara guided him gently, her laughter mingling with his own. The people cheered not because he was perfect, but because he embraced the moment with joy and sincerity. After some time, they stepped aside to catch their breath, sitting on a marble bench near the edge of the plaza. The twin suns were higher in the sky now, casting soft patterns of light across the gardens. "You have changed my world," Liara said quietly. "Not by force, but by presence. You remind me that laughter, friendship, and curiosity are as powerful as any weapon or strategy." Elias felt a warmth in his chest. "And you have changed mine, Liara. You have shown me that bravery can be gentle, that wisdom can guide without fear, and that even the smallest act of trust can create a bond stronger than any obstacle." Liara's cheeks flushed slightly, and she looked away, a shy smile playing on her lips. "Then perhaps our worlds are not so different after all." Elias nodded. "Perhaps not. And perhaps this is only the beginning. There is much we can learn from each other, much we can share." The festival continued around them, but Elias and Liara remained in their quiet corner, talking about dreams, hopes, and the endless possibilities that lay ahead. They spoke of human cities, alien landscapes, and the wonders they had yet to discover together. As the day drew on, Liara led Elias to a hill overlooking the city. From this vantage point, the palace, gardens, and distant mountains were all visible. The people below moved like threads in a tapestry, each contributing to the vibrant life of Virelia. "Look at them," Liara said softly. "Each life is unique yet connected. That is what makes Virelia strong. And now you are part of that strength." Elias watched the people below, feeling a deep sense of belonging. "I have never felt this way before," he admitted. "Even after traveling to many worlds, I never imagined I could be part of something so harmonious." Liara reached out, placing her hand gently on his. "You are, Elias. Your presence, your laughter, and your courage have made a difference. You are part of Virelia's story now." They stood together in silence for a moment, the wind rustling softly through the trees. Then Liara turned to him, her eyes shining with warmth. "Come, there is something I want to show you." She led him to a secluded part of the palace gardens where a small grove of luminescent trees grew. Their leaves shimmered in soft pastel colors, reflecting the twin suns in delicate patterns. At the center of the grove was a small fountain, water flowing in gentle arcs. "This is my favorite place," Liara said. "It is quiet, peaceful, and full of life. I come here to think, to reflect, and sometimes to dream." Elias looked around in awe. "It is beautiful. I can see why it is your favorite." Liara smiled and gestured for him to sit beside her. "Elias, I hope you know that the bond we have formed is rare. Not just between human and alien, but between any beings. We have shared laughter, strategy, and courage. That is something to cherish." Elias nodded, feeling the truth of her words. "I do, and I will treasure it, Princess. More than I can express." They sat in companionable silence, listening to the gentle flow of the fountain and the distant hum of the city. The peace of the moment contrasted with the chaos they had faced, reminding them of the resilience and beauty of life. After some time, Liara spoke again. "Elias, would you consider staying on Virelia? Not just as a visitor, but as a friend, a collaborator, and someone who shares in the life of this world?" Elias felt a surge of emotion. "I would be honored, Princess. I came to explore, to learn, and to connect. Staying here with you and your people feels like the right path." Liara's smile widened and she laughed softly. "Then we shall walk it together." In the following cycles, Elias became more than a guest. He worked alongside the Virelians, learning their technology, participating in cultural ceremonies, and sharing human knowledge. The people accepted him fully, inspired by his courage, kindness, and willingness to embrace their traditions. Liara and Elias spent countless hours exploring the planet, from glowing forests to sparkling lakes, laughing, talking, and discovering the wonders of Virelia together. Their bond grew deeper, not just as allies, but as true friends who trusted and respected one another. One evening, as the twin suns dipped below the horizon, painting the sky with shades of pink and gold, Liara and Elias stood on the palace balcony. The city below was alive with gentle lights, music, and laughter. "You have made a difference here," Liara said softly. "Not just in the battle we faced, but in the hearts of our people. You remind us that even in a vast universe, kindness and friendship matter most." Elias looked at her, feeling a profound sense of purpose. "And you have made a difference in mine. You have shown me that courage, wisdom, and laughter can bridge worlds. Together we can face anything." Liara smiled, her eyes reflecting the glow of the twin suns. "Yes, together we can face anything. And perhaps even explore the stars side by side." Elias laughed softly. "Then let us see what wonders the universe holds." Together, they stood in silence for a while, watching the stars appear one by one in the growing night sky. The galaxy stretched endlessly before them, full of mysteries, adventures, and possibilities. Yet Elias knew that no matter how vast the universe might be, the bond they had formed would guide them through anything. As the first moon rose over Virelia, casting a soft silver light across the palace gardens, Elias felt a deep sense of contentment. He had traveled to the stars seeking knowledge and adventure, but he had found something far more extraordinary: a world worth protecting, a friendship worth cherishing, and the promise of a future filled with hope and laughter. Princess Liara turned to him, her smile warm and genuine. "Elias, I am glad you are here. Our journey together is just beginning, and I cannot imagine a better companion for the adventures ahead." Elias took her hand gently. "And I am glad to be here, Liara. With you, I have learned that the universe is not just about stars and planets. It is about connections, courage, and the joy we share along the way." Together, they watched the city below, the lights twinkling like stars reflected on the surface of the world. The people moved with harmony and happiness, a testament to what could be achieved when beings worked together, trusted each other, and shared their strengths. And as the night deepened, Elias and Liara laughed softly together, a sound that carried hope, friendship, and the certainty that no matter what challenges the future held, they would face them side by side, human and alien, friends united by courage, respect, and the simple joy of being together. In that moment, under the twin moons and the endless stars, Virelia's story was not just one of survival, but of friendship, understanding, and hope. And for Elias Harper, it was the beginning of an extraordinary chapter, one that would shine across worlds, remembered as the time when laughter, courage, and trust bridged the gap between stars.